Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day and Happy New Year. I wanted to jump on here and give my thoughts on the finale of Stranger Things Season 5, which aired last year. I can say that now, it's 2026. And yeah, I just want to share my thoughts with you. This will be a spoiler review, so if you have yet to see the episode, feel free to come back to this video after you've watched it. I also want to just tell you a bit of backstory about my relationship with the Stranger Things show. So I started watching in 2016 when it first aired. I was hooked from the very first episode, and I have been a avid fan since, waiting for every season and basically binge watching the moment it went onto Netflix and I could see it. So yeah, very, very invested in the story and these characters over the years, and was very excited going into season 5. Also, I think it's important to mention that season 4 is my favourite of the show, mostly due to the fact that Vecna is introduced. I think his storyline is brilliant, and there were so many twists and turns in season 4 that I wasn't seeing coming, especially the reveal that Henry is Vecna completely floored me. I usually feel like I predict things pretty well, but I did not see that coming at all. So, yeah, brilliant television. I think Vecna in season 4 is like one of the best television villains ever, and I was really excited to see where they would go with the story, considering he disappeared at the end of season 4, but we knew he was alive, and it was only a matter of time before he came back. So going into season 5, my expectations were like way up here. Maybe they should have been like lower, but I trusted the Duffer Brothers to stick the landing. So do I think they stick the landing? Not really. So with volume 1, I thought it was pretty good, up until, the last 20 minutes of episode 4 were fantastic. I was really excited for volume 2. Then I think we really hit a lull. There were a lot of pacing issues. Everything felt a bit underwhelming to me in volume 2. And then we got to episode 7, and I was really surprised that we had yet to hear anything about Henry's backstory up until that point. I actually really thought that episode 7 was going to be a episode solely based on Henry's backstory. If you have seen the Stranger Things play or read about it, you will know that there is a lot of lore pertaining to Henry and his backstory, and none of it had been explored up until that point. So I was a bit concerned going into a finale episode of 2 hours that everything would feel like a bit underdeveloped and rushed through, considering we had to tie up the big cast of characters' storylines, Vecna's storyline, but also explain what happened in Henry's past. And ultimately, that's exactly what happened. It felt rushed, underdeveloped, and underwhelming to me. And it makes me really sad because this show has meant so much to me. But, I cannot deny that I came out the other side feeling pretty underwhelmed. So just want to kind of run through some of the issues I had. The biggest one for me was Henry's story. I Obviously they explained the part with the cave, but I just think it was kind of dumped on us in like 5 minutes. I don't even think it was that well executed when you read about the play and what happened to Henry. I don't actually think like all of it was even explained here. And then there's so much more to his backstory that kind of explains, more in depth, about like a love that he had when he was a teenager. I also know that like in season 4 he kind of hinted that there was something with his parents that happened. He's obviously not a reliable narrator in that sense, but I thought that we might get a reveal there. Never happens. And ultimately I just feel like Henry's backstory was very underwhelming, and I really wanted more from it. And then, we came to the battle, which I think looked really great, had some very intense moments. But when we compare, what we saw here in season 5 during the battle to season 4 Vecna, this Vecna was just like so easily defeated, and it just wasn't the scary villain that we saw in season 4, and it just felt way too easy and convenient, everything that happens. And as much as I love these characters, I think that's been one of the biggest issues with season 5. The stakes have just felt very low because a character seems in danger, but then they're saved right away, or there's a fake out death, but it never happens. And I just think when it comes to the final epic battle, as it were, I do think even though it would have been like a bit bittersweet that more characters should have been killed off, because everything just seemed way too happy. I actually thought at the end, when it was revealed that like everyone pretty much like got out and was living like life and were happy, that there was going to be some like big twist at the end. I don't know if that was just my like demented mind. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, the fact that I love thrillers, there was going to be like a big twist. Like I'm always expecting something around the corner. But yeah, ultimately it didn't happen. There are also a lot of plot points that I just don't think were really explained well, and I feel like it left like unanswered questions that I wanted uh, to get answers to. Like we never really found out who Dr. K was. I thought she would be uh, a relative of Dr. Brenner. I guess she wasn't. We never found out like why was Will held in the Upside Down and not the Abyss. Then, Will was taken because he was weak, according to Vecna. I thought that there would be like way more of an interesting development in that story and their connection. There wasn't. And then just like, like editing mistakes in this season and things that it just kind of feels like people were like sidelined, or there's just so many characters that they kind of like forget about people at moments and then just kind of tie it all in conveniently, like Ted showing up at the end. Like, what happened to him in the hospital? Like, at that point, when the demos went after Lucas, there was like no nurses there, it seemed like. He was in a coma, but he made it out okay. And then at the end, like, Vicky wasn't there. And to be honest, I like Steve's my favorite character. I love him, but I just felt like the kind of tease with him and Nancy in season 4 went nowhere in the end. It kind of felt like a plot device to move the Jonathan Nancy thing along. And then there was like Carly was introduced, and she felt like a plot device to basically get from A to B because, they kind of had like to join the dots somehow, and her coming in to like help save the day kind of worked and wrote a wrong in their minds from the Lost Sister episode, but then she ultimately like dies because at that point, like where was her story going to go? So yeah, ultimately I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest. I feel like this season had a lot of build up and then fell very flat and just didn't have the payoff that I expected. Maybe my expectations were set too high, but I really expected more, and I am quite sad to say that because this show will still be one of my favorites of all time. But yeah, I really like hoped for more than what was delivered. So what did you think? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts.